question on it. So at UGM, at University of Gajah Mada, I have made or developed, not instead of using history, I put into five different kind of perspective, and this perspective based on the depth of the analysis. So the deeper is here, the more super from the supervision is that we work on what we are able to observe, that is from the behavior. So these are five perspectives that we can see as the distinct. However, this five perspective has got its techniques of intervention. I'm a clinical psychologist. So when I've said as a technique, then behavior, they have systematic desensitization, EMDR, here is CBT, they have rational emotive therapy, here is humanistic, they have, and psychodynamic or psychoanalysis, and here is the transpersonal. We'll be focusing more this afternoon on transpersonal psychology. These are the technique: mindfulness, relaxation, and so on. I need to acknowledge these are my gurus, my teachers, whom I learned on transpersonal versus Margaret Ruffler is expert in psychosynthesis. Although then I also back to Asagioli and Gila. And Hendro is, I would say, is expert, but he's got everything in his head. He's great. He's one of my teachers. Arthur, have met him in Palo Alto. At that time, it was Institute of Transpersonal Psychology. So it was in the year of 2011 up to 2012. And Rob, his is self-enthusiasm. Dave and Michael, and these two are the promoter for anti-medicine for psychotic. So drugs for antipsychotics doing more harm than good. That's what the research found. Olga is my teacher on psychoneurophenomenology, and Kathleen Wall, my teacher for psychospiritual integrated therapy. Steven is for the shamanic journey, and Lars is the peer Latuada, who I've thought let's just visit him in Milano, in Italy, for your trans energetic. Here's our transpersonal psychologist in Indonesia. So he's Hendro, but Hans from Undip, and Dini, I've known her in Palo Alto. She took a PhD at the Institute of Transpersonal Psychology, as also Dia, but the institute now changed into the Sofia University. And this is me. I know myself as Quoted Palk is the queen of ocean and the world marathon run. That's my dream. Here are the books I've used. And this is, I'll go very fast to this, the experience, but then I will do the landing on the postulate development of the theory. So here is the facts that our body has the electromagnetic, okay? So when people do a meditation, she said that initially it's something like this, sporadical, and when they start having the breathing exercise on the right rhythm, then it comes into like this, and when they are very in the deep relaxation, then as you can see here is the part of the brain. The red color is the part of the brain which is activated when they are doing meditation. So as you can see here, when you do the meditation or relaxation, part of the brain, it is about more than 50%, even about 60% part of the brain activated. So it's amazing. This is the time that we are very strong, the strongest, but the lightest, but it's also when the energy comes into the optimum. This is the place where the staff or instruments develop. There's a Center for Neuroscience and Neurodevelopmental Health. This is in Gibbsboro. It's about 45 minutes from Princeton and from New Brunswick. And here's Kathleen Wall. So she passed away a couple years ago. She taught me the psycho-spiritual integrated therapy. That's a journey of spiritual journey. Okay, and this from Smith, I've learned also spiritual journey for shamanic. So in shamanic, they've got a lot of shamanic courses. So one of it I've learned from Peruvian. His name is Smith, David Smith, if I'm not mistaken. And hang on, okay. And he taught me on first the journey to middle word, lower word, and upper word to meet the spiritual teachers or ancestor or animal power. So according to him, the way all of those trans what is this, the trans prototype, trans whatever whatever you will call this animal power, they have the eyes out there, so they are able to see what has been gone through and what will be in the future based on the trace of the electromagnetic waves they are able to see here. So this is the word of the ancestor, this is the word of animal power, and this is the word of spiritual teacher. So I did that exercise. I stopped doing it because I was afraid takut. It's a bit dupa, it's a bit rituals here, but that's a part of what I've learned. Okay. This is also the life from Buddhism. I can't explain that much. This is from a good friend of mine. This is what I've learned from Arthur Hastings, the psychomantheum. These are when you need to know who you are and what is it that burdening you, then they do psychomantheum, this pendulum. So this is a projective test using the psychomantheum. I've learned things related to mind lamp. This is mind lamp is it's a lamp that is constructed using random numbers so that it will come into 7 colors and you can name it. And if you are in a good or mindful enough, you will be able to tell and ask the light to different color of light. So for example, I want to have it blue, then it becomes blue. Okay, so this is the mind physics interaction. This is created at the Princeton Engineering Anomaly Research Laboratory using random numbers experiment. The professor who did that was a professor in aerospace. I forgot his name, but I have here. Here is the laboratory. Brenda is the manager of it. So I have learned this from Arthur, and he taught us how to use it. So we sit over there, and the light is over there, and then he was asking me, well, what do you want to have? The color blue? And then he said, okay. Then the color changed to blue. And we were trained. But when I was trained, I was trying to, I worked very hard to make the color as I wish, but it didn't work. So I was asking Arthur, what did you do? And he said, well, I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting here, aware that I'm here. I'm aware that in front of me is my lamp and you are there. And as you said, you want to have it blue, then I told myself, okay, I'm here and I want to have it blue. And it turned out to be blue. So what happened was, when you are in the position of mindful, then that is the position where the energy come into at the maximum or optimal level, and then the power, the highest power. So it's very strong, and therefore you can't tell the lamp to change the color. The lamp has been researched using random numbers experiment. Don't ask me about this experiment. This belongs to colleague from engineering. His Ruffler and his Smith and his Louis Pierre is what I've said. I've learned from him biotrans energetic. Biotrans energetic is that he is a medical doctor. He did PhD eventually in psychotherapy. His ex-wife was a psychic from Brazil, and you can imagine a psychic and medical doctor got married, and they had always dispute argument on what happened in life. And so one day, as he said, he went to Brasilia, and his ex-wife, inviting all of her friends, and they got together and they do something so that this guy Pierre is then flying up to the air, and he was surprised and wondering what happened. So and then he started learning, and then he found this terms that is called as biotrans energetics. That is when you heal someone from a distance. This is also explaining the way we heal people from a distance. So that is by enlarging the self, which is from inside, enlarging it, and then resonancing it using the cosmology so that it will be resonancing the power, the internal constellation of the client. Okay, it's a bit complicated to explain, but it does work. And I do. So let's look off and forward. These two are used to be the dean. These two are don't believe on the psychotic antipsychotic drugs. In fact, he had a experience of having a psychotic symptoms during the early age, and so did he. And so they got survived without any drugs at all. It took about 10 up to 15 years. And so when it comes into transpersonal psychology, we usually would focus on behavior, cognition, and emotion. And transpersonal is beyond that, so across that. So this is the person, and then these are all outside of the person, however, in the bonding with the person. So the word of trans is understood as above or beyond, can also be understood as a cross. You can imagine a cross as in transatlantic, or above or beyond, in transcendence experience beyond our ordinary conscious, the way we perceive it or understand it. So here's the definition of transpersonal psychology. Is a study how the spiritual is expressed in and through the personal, as well as the transcendence of self. And from here that we will understand the journey of life on this perspective, which I like. And the focus is the self. The understanding of self here is not the self like what people from social psychology self, but it's more on the self as the core of life. For those who's Islam is more on the cult, ruh yang dihembuskan ke rahim seorang ibu. That is the self. Because then the journey of life is the journey of self. The self work and having the journey from the beginning and then back to the owner of life. Okay? And the technique in transpersonal psychology range between breathing exercise into cathartic expression. I myself learned transpersonal psychology. Would say I'm a transpersonal psychologist because I use the theory for psychotherapy and for research as well. Private practice and research, okay? And then when it comes into the spirit, what is it then difference between spirituality and religion? If you guys familiar with this definition, religion is the organized, established structures associated with organized religion. This is not a good example because religion defined by religion, which some people find great meaning, but in others do not. And spirituality is the soul's request for the divine, and one is not affiliated with a traditional organized religion. So I would put focus on the soul's request. And the soul's request is bonded in the journey of self. Okay? And then with the cosmology, within the cosmology, and then it will come into the enlightenment of the life. Here I need to disclaim, doing the disclaimer that I would not pretend myself as a transpersonal psychologist who knows everything about self. transpersonal psychology. No, because I know only part of it and very limited. And so here are transpersonal psychology of which I don't know. So Ken Wilber's spectrum model, no, I don't know. Jung's a bit known. This diamond, I don't know. As actually, this is what I use, yes. But growth, I don't know. And then existential, yes, existential is what we got. Then it comes into integral transpersonal psychology that comes into biotrans energetic. This more or less the same. And body center, yes, body center is uh the body center said that your body is the language of the unconsciousness. I forgot the name of the book I usually mention, but I have presented in the previous slide. So based on my journey of knowledge, I put some postulate. Postulate is a position, is a theoretical supposition. It has to be empirically worked out to be a real strong theory. So here is the first postulate in transpersonal psychology: to be able to understand the process of life and who is actually determine your life. Okay, determine your life and the direction of it. Okay, so this is the cosmology. Okay, it will stop on that. Hang on. Oh, okay. If you remember, it will stop into the very tiny molecule. So it's like start from here subatomic particles into atoms, atoms into molecules, molecules construct organelles, and then up to person, up to the cosmology. Okay, but as you notice here that the subatomic is kind of into nano, if you're familiar with that. That's also the very that's also the particle of anything. So it doesn't have to be in the body of the human being, but also and this bottles plastics when you come into very tiny part of it. It's also in this snack peanut penny side of it, and this is then explaining why the mind physics interaction might happen. That's the interconnection between human and non-human, between human and human in different space, and it's borderless from time and geography. Like right now, you can see me, but do you think you really see me? No, you seeing only the description of me, someone named Quartarini, on the virtual features. Using what? Using electromagnetic waves, constructed as pictures, as light, as voices. And so the same like this theory. The theory is from the natural hierarchy natural system. That's the way it works, okay? If you have any question, you may raise then after this. That's the first postulate. The second postulate is I have presented before that in our body we have electromagnetic waves that is expressed in the brain waves. It is not only in the brain waves, actually, in all of the body, we've got electromagnetic waves. Otherwise, we cannot because a drum. We are once in a while kasetrum, right? If you don't believe me, you may try yourself at home, get the electricity, open the cable, and then put your body and then you do kasetrum. I don't know what is kasetrum in English. Okay. The third postulate, this postulate will then construct the life determination. The third postulate is the fact that our human brain waves, which are learned by people in medicine, people in electroengineering, are mainly these 5 waves. The first wave is the gamma. The speed is very high. Those are when you are very good on it or you are very bad. Panic attack is here. The very tension. And then when we are doing something like this right now, we are in the beta. Imagine the waves is the waves of radio transmitter or TV, right? So ini seperti gelombang TV or gelombang radio. So simple, just like that. But the gelombang, the electromagnetic waves features is different from beta, alpha, theta, and delta. So these are all the brain waves. It might more than that, but these are all what we have learned so far and explained by our colleague in medicine. The fourth postulate, I put here the template of consciousness. Where are these waves located? Predominantly, not in a precise, not in a terminal space. So when you this is iceberg, this is a template of consciousness. When you are here, this is the awareness, this is conscious, this is unconsciousness, this is subconsciousness. But if you translate it in Indonesia, do not translate unconsciousness as tidak sadar. How it should have been translated in bawah sadar. If you were saying tidak sadar, then people collapse. Okay, so here is where the beta is here, and here is alpha, here is theta, and here is delta. The very big part is the theta, or when you start coming into alpha, relax, then and then you should come into very more relaxing, then it's theta. Okay, and so the way it works, the way the waves work is following this mechanism. So just like receiver and sender, if I have no receiver at home for TVRE, I will never be able to receive any TVRE acara. But I have this from TV as receiver for TVRE, even the TVRE in TVRI in Jakarta, I will still be able to see it because the waves are compatible. Okay, in that sense, similar happened to us. If we have the waves here of anger, and then here are many waves, one of the waves are something making people angry, then this will connect it. See, those waves with similar features, compatibility, and then they click, right? Okay. And so here's what we do in psychotherapy if the waves are having the resource from a negative emotion. So these are the wave example, And the cosmology, they have a lot of kind of waves. Some are light, some are voices, some are events. And then which of these are clicking to this? Those which having more most or likable or with the compatibility, high compatibility to the waves from our body. Remember, our body having also electromagnetic. And so then this will be clicking. So when we are, this is explaining when we are banyak bersyukur, and then we will face a lot of blessing events. Because the bersyukur will constitute this kind of waves, and the waves which is also exist in cosmology. And where is this waves from? From any events that we are going to mensyukuri. Okay, I know it's a bit confusing, but if you don't understand, you may ask. The same thing. If we kept this anger, and then you will meet with any events that will make you angry. If you are having these waves as disappointment, you will meet with all of the events as disappointment. So if you, some of you may experience betrayed all the times. That's because you kept this betrayal, disappointment within yourself, which you may not know, okay? However, so the electromagnetic waves compatibility works something like this. So if you come together, say like 15 or 50 or 100 people working together, then you sort of have an intuition, I think I will be matched with this person. And then you work, and then you have a good soul with this too. But someday you will also be able to see, oh, this person is nice and smell good, but I don't feel like I can work with him. And then you work with him, and then you feel like, lara tenan tau, I feel it, udah ku tahu gitu. So that's the word of the wave in intuition. So the how does it work for any calling for any waves is what we call it from here, from life is a functional journey. I will explain you like this. Here is the journey. Here is the process of creation.
The journey of life starts with a fascinating race. Starting with millions of sperm, only one, the fastest and the strongest, will reach the finish line. Some fall out of the race, getting lost in the rush through the narrow fallopian tubes, while some are stopped by natural obstacles which protect the woman's body from intruders. Those who make it closer to the end compete fiercely with each other. Together, they attack the egg cell. Their only goal is to be the first one to enter the egg. Only one will make it through, but the others simplify this mission by slowly dissolving the membrane of the egg. Finally, we have a winner. The winning sperm enters the egg and conception occurs. Half the man's and half the woman's chromosomes combine. This creates a unique DNA code which is needed to create new life. These combined chromosomes form the first cell of the new baby. This is now called the zygote. The zygote starts to divide into a cluster of cells and begins to travel to the friendly and safe habitat of the uterus. When the zygote is divided into a bubble of cells, a blastocyst is formed with an inner layer of cells making up the embryo and an outer layer which will protect and nourish the embryo. The blastocyst then finds a comfortable place to stay in the uterus for the next 40 weeks to develop and transform into a human being.
So that's the journey. But there's also theory from the polypophagal theory. It's not yet here. That the ovum of the mother was from ovum and sperm. So along the way it comes into up to the hulu pemiliknya, then it's from the ancestor of the ancestor. If you realize that historically, with the theory of um, evolution theory, we have something here on the neck, what we call as the fight, flight, and freeze. Amygdala is the resource of fight, flight, and freeze reaction, and the fight, flight uh, reaction was actually the DNA features sustained up to 400 million years, and the freeze mechanism sustained for 500 million years. This explained of the um, transgeneration therapy explains also the déjà vu. Okay, so how does it work if things happen? As a person holding a bottle, if you can imagine it, so hold the aqua. So for example, you will hold the aqua here. If you hold it very long, this is very light. Okay, this is very light. But you hold it very long, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, then it's getting heavier. Why is it heavier? The mass is not increased. The gravitation remain the same. What added is this t, this is the time. This is square, double square, because here is velocity, speed and the velocity, so it's cross the 1 t square actually. And then here the way it works is the following the formula of the energy is mass and then multiplied by constanta quadrat amc quadrat. This is Einstein formula. You know, if you hold your anger here since you were 3 years old, and then on and on and on and on and on and on with time, as time goes, then it's become bigger. Time does not heal. That's not what we have found in our research. It doesn't heal. So you have to work on that memories. Sorry to say. But and then the postulate 6 is the body equal with the unconsciousness and equal with present time. What does it mean? When we imagine this rujak, or bakso Malang yang anget, bakwan, then we salivate it already. Even if the bakso is not there, but saliva is there, right? So the body work now. The body doesn't have to wait until the bakso is there. The same thing when you imagine your boyfriend betrayed. We get hurt and then you can't feel it again. Although your current boyfriend is much better than him. And also if you having exam next week, you get anxious right now. So it's not waiting until the next week because the body works right now. So it does tell what the language of the unconscious is. If you want to know the unconscious speak of something, and then check the body. So body is unconsciousness. The symptoms come body is something that your unconscious is experiencing. Okay, why? Because if you visualize something, it comes into the next postulate. Think about something, and then part of the brain is exactly the same will be activated. So if you visualize bakso Malang, anget salivasi, then because the part of the brain yang memakan bakso Malang is here. Of course, if you don't know the stuff, if you are given something you don't know, iki panganan opo ora cetha gitu, then nothing is activated. But if the panganan is cetha already, then the brain is more activated. If you had the experience of patah hati cetha in the past 5 years, and then this will be activated. Okay, but having said that, then if you imagine something good, bersyukur, or if you imagine, finally I got married, something like that, then it will also be calling the events of marriage for you. Okay, this is also the way we use for a dialogue organ to heal the organ which is wound or sakit, organ yang sakit. The mechanism called as neuroplasticity. So if, for example, you imagine like in my patient, ada HNP on the backbone, you imagine getting better with pictures, shifting the pictures, and then the bone is getting better. The inflammation is then reduced, then gone. It worked that way because the work of the brain like this, okay? And so this is, how does it work? It's really as simple like this.
Rebecca Owen took up gymnastics when she was just 7 years old. Her life's ambition is to win an Olympic medal. She's practiced 5.5 hours a day, 6 days a week for 10 years. Her hard work and great talent have already won her a silver medal in the 2002 Commonwealth Games.
Like to thank everybody for coming and watching, and they just help you get you motivated for the whole competition. It's great.
But to stand a chance of ever being selected for the Olympic team, Rebecca must learn a new, extremely difficult move. It's called a ginga salto. It involves flying off the high bar, performing a back somersault and a half twist before re-catching the bar.
Basically, you'll watch somebody do it first so you can get a general idea of what you're going to be doing and what you want it to look like. And then you'll start the progressions and you'll get like feedback from your coach, and they'll tell you what to do, what not to do, where you're going right and wrong.
Rebecca's coach is Colin Still.
It's the turn, release the bar, arms down, watch
He
the bar.
begins by introducing her mind to the move.
Did you see the bar all the way through?
Yeah.
Hold the shape. When we teach a move to people like Rebecca, any gymnast, they must concentrate at the beginning. They know nothing, and we have to fill their minds with the idea of what we're trying to get across, and then we've got to get their body to follow their mind.
It's time for Rebecca to try the ginga salto for real.
So this one we'll take from handstand.
The first time you do it on your own, you have to really concentrate on what you're doing. When you're stood there waiting to go, you do get a bit more nervous and you start to think about things that could go wrong.
Well, it was close, which is good, but you've got to see the bar and you've got to attack the bar with a hand, so you actually grab the bar before the weight comes on the hands. Ready?
It's just not working. It's time for a more radical approach. It's a learning method called visualization. Rebecca won't have to move a muscle. Rather, she'll rehearse the entire sequence in her brain. Rebecca stands still and concentrates. She visualizes every stage of the somersault, the moment she releases the bar, the instant she twists her body, and the second she catches the bar. And she does this over and over again.
Visualization does help when you're learning a new move. You can go through it in your brain before you actually have to do it yourself.
Scientists have discovered there's a region of the brain that's activated when we imagine a body movement. Rebecca rehearses the move in her mind, she's creating pathways through her brain cells as if she were actually doing the somersault, all without moving a muscle. It means that when she does perform it for real, she should find it easier, because the pathways in her brain are already in place. Will it work? Rebecca has repeatedly visualized each tiny twist and turn of the somersault in her mind. But has she established strong enough pathways to make her body do it for real?
Right, nice and positive.
Each time I do the move, it gets better because it becomes more automatic, so I can think about it less and think like more about what happened on the last one and try and correct it again on the next one. When you start to do it in the competition, you do get a bit more nervous. You just have to tell yourself that you've done it millions of times and you know how to do it.
Visualization helped Rebecca establish new pathways in her mind that enabled her body to complete the somersault. Understanding how to use her mind more effectively has given Rebecca a real chance of being selected for the Olympic team and winning a medal.
I love the expression of winning from Rebecca. So as you can see over there, that when we visualize something, then the brain works already, as I've said. So the Rebecca is only example of how people succeed, but how people said is also work the same way. But for the therapy, we use neuroplasticity. Okay, so this knowledge are helping us to understand why we get hurt and why the hurt is getting on and on and on because we keep calling it. But why we face the event that is hurting because we are also calling it. And so instead of calling bad things, we can all actually calling good things happen to us. Okay, good. So this is what I've said. The body work now, and this is the visualization, and this is the part of the brain activity, exactly the same. And this is what I've said. And then this the work of the psychic and mind of avoid or protect ourselves from getting hurt. So what kind of hurt, what kind of wound that you have still inside, we don't know until we explore our internal at the unconscious level. Because we protect ourselves, things which are here should not come up to the awareness. Why? Because it's hurting. Just the same like when we are going to get slapped, then we do something like this. This is to protect ourselves from getting hurt. See? So we make that move. Okay? Because we don't want to get hurt. The same what happened to psychological processes. So the way it works in psychotherapy is usually I would put this person, if they has problem, into the very relaxed, come into this theta and then put into the original, the very first beginning of when that emotion occurred in his life, and then I will do the reconstruction. Okay, I'm not going into the details of the therapy, but if you want to ask, I will be delighted to explain. This is the theory of the polyvagal. Okay. So this is the process of the therapy, which I'm not going to explain into detail. However, if you have any question, I'll be happy to explain it. This is the work after you visualize something, then the intercellular communication, by the way, this is a courtesy of Dr. Chalker at Sinopsopro. It worked this way. So the stimuli will be like that, and then there are three kinds of intercellular communication, that is endocrine, paracrine, and autocrine. And this work something like this: the stimuli, emotion, and then electrical stimulus will come into our body, and this will synthase or construct the synthesis of sodium, which cause local membrane depolarization and then come into inflammation. So if things happen in a very early age, then it will influence all of the body. If things happen in the very beginning of life, like this, and we are not aware of it, the mechanism would still exist. And therefore, the inflammation, cell inflammation is getting accumulated years, because the body work now, but the now is now. And when it comes into 30 years, you need only a very tiny, trivial trigger to get your depression, to lead into hypertension, to lead into cancer, to lead into migraine, lead into diabetes mellitus, and any other chronic disease. Can be mentally, can also be physically. The same. Okay. It is, however, we can do what we call as cognitive appraisal, but I would do the cognitive appraisal on the theta level. By doing that, the change happen from that intervention is 80%, because when we come into the very deep of relaxation or at unconscious level, we work with the what we call as the wandering nerve. Wandering nerve is on the 80% of the body. So the change that bit. And then so come back to the question, journey of life, who's determined the journey of your journey of life, is the interconnection between what we have into our body and what we do have in the cosmology, and then what we do actually, the developmental stages, but then the features of the DNA would still be here. So these interconnection mechanism, but then the driver is the self. It will determine at the ocean of your own selection to where are you going, where are you wanting to be. I hope this is already 54 minutes, and I hope, but it's still short to me. So I hope you get what I am trying to convey. And why do we need that? It's becoming a healthy and happy human being. I like this picture. So achieving your dreams. For whom? For the people we love. This is my husband, and these are all my children. And with love, I will close this session, and I hope it will give you somehow critical appraisal and us and a good discussion. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much, Ibu Kuartarini. It's a very interesting, important, and valuable information from you. Yeah. Okay, maybe there are questions. It looks like Ibu Kuartarini explained is very clear, so there are no questions.
Okay.
Okay, but Ibu, actually, when we are in this world, yeah, it means that we are the winner, right? Yes,
You
we
wish.
are the winner. Yes, we are the winner. So we do not need to be as him malu, I think, yeah. And we do not need to be desperate, and we do not need to be what is it? It's mean lost. What they say? Percaya diri apa Pak? Confidence, sorry. Confidence. Okay. So, Ibu, maybe do you have some suggestion for us, yeah, to be a good people, yeah, because everyone is the winner in this world.
Well, you can be the winner if you wish. There are people who do not have the wish to be the winner at all. And so my advice would be set up a dream, because you don't have to pay the dreams, and put it into your unconscious level and keep it working. The way how to keep it working: before you sleep, you start thinking of your dreams. That's one thing. The other thing is, when you need to get more blessing in your life, ya bersyukur. So it has nothing to do with religion. Yang diajarkan di religion, bersyukurlah maka akan banyak bersyukur, but it is explained scientifically. If you are banyak bersyukur, then you will meet events that you are going to mensyukuri. If you are banyak condemns, banyak jangka, banyak dendam, then you will meet the events yang akan dijengkelin, diengerin. So it is your wish, it is your option. How would you direct your life? But the way you are doing the direction is that if you want to go to sleep, why going to sleep? Because when you go to sleep, you'll be in the theta level or probably in the delta level. At that time, the coverage of the influence of your thought is on the 80% of your body. That by activating the wandering nerve, and this is explained in a polyvagal theory. I know it's too short, right? The time, although if there's no question from the audience, there's two possibilities. First, it's too clear. The second is too confusing. It's just the too confusing. It's too confusing because if it is confusing, we will meet again. I will be able to explain you to make it and doing the clarification. So Yusuf is responsible for my attendance to Malang, and I'll see you guys there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you Ibu Kwartarini. It's very nice explanation, Ibu. Yeah, so I think we should think positive to be the winner, Ibu. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Okay, for the committee, please. There is certificate for you, Ibu. So you can take picture. Okay, committee, please. Let us know the certificate to Ibu.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ibu. Sorry for if there are some inconvenience.
That's okay, fine.
Okay, thank you. Hopefully, it's very important, very valuable for us. Yeah. Okay. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the last speaker has already explained about the presentation. So the time I will give to the master of ceremony. Okay, see you next year, inshallah. Ya, give applause to Ibu once again.
Terima kasih, Prof. Go. See you again.
Okay, thank you very much for the knowledge. Okay, I will give to Mr. of ceremony. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much Miss Profesor Kwartarini. Makasih.
Sama-sama. I live ya. I love you. Ciao.
Ayo, Prof. Go.
Thank you, Prof.
MC. Ladies and gentlemen, now we reach the end of agenda.
And it's our pleasure to have you all here during this couple of days. Thank you so much for joining us and hope we can see you again in the next event.
Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's been my pleasure being with all of you
since yesterday morning to today afternoon. Thank you very much. Before coming to the end of today afternoon, I'd like to sincerely thank our keynote speakers and presenters for sharing their thought-provoking work, and the conference organizers for putting me in the simultaneously wonderful and impossible position of providing some conclusion to this day. That said, it's fitting that at the end of today dedicated to the landscapes of flourishing humanity within the psychological frameworks, I would be left with changing thoughts, transforming and flowing all directions. Being concerned as we are with the past, it seems not only we move and think in terms of space, but in terms of time, but again, in directional and spatial way. We bring up the past, we try to go back into it, and most of all, we attempt to work with it. We are now aware of being psychologists and becoming flourished. You and I may forget words today, but those words remain in our consciousness. And if I were to draw one overarching theme from yesterday morning to today afternoon, it might be just that: movement and direction. We need to move our conventional psychology frameworks to flourishing ones, which open positive ways from listening to speakers to thinking of what they talk about, doing what is right and avoiding what is wrong. In addition, we have been directed to experience our suffering from very unpleasant situations, then coping them with resilience to perform the best out ourselves and to flourish the positive well-being and personal growth. All in all, we say goodbye and we will welcome all of you in this conference next year. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Don't forget to fill your attendance form for getting your certificate. Thank you very much for joining us in this conference. We will see you next year.
Inshallah.
Thank you for committee for the success this session.
Perjalanan membawamu bertemu denganku, ku bertemu kamu. Sepertimu yang ku cari, konon aku juga seperti yang kau cari. Ku kira kita asam dan garam, dan kita bertemu di belanga. Kisah yang ternyata tak seindah itu.